Okay, good morning, ninth grade. Welcome to Tuesday's lesson. Okay, much of this lesson is included in yesterday, but there are some new concepts towards the end of it. So just real quickly, to factor this, remember, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared equals a plus b squared. Change this to a subtract, you change that to a subtract. Since this is plus, this is v, square root of this. Plain and simple. I'm not going to take the time to input it to show you that I'm correct here. Then remember where there are two variables. Okay, looks a little bit more complicated. It's the same exact thing. You're finding what is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. I'm going to leave that up there this time. Equals a plus b squared. If this is minus, this is minus. Okay, that's plus. So, that's plus. Square root of this, 8y. Square root of this, 3w. Done. Okay. Number 4. Different kind. Okay. Okay. Half of this squared. That's what goes there, 16. So plus 16. Okay? Remember, if you need a little bit more time with these, go back to yesterday's video. Number 6 is a different kind of problem. Come on, number 6. Number 6 is rewriting a quadratic formula to find the vertex from a graph. Let me try number 7. Number 6 is given trouble. Let me do this. It's not working. Do it this way. Okay, so I don't have the input box here again, so this is from yesterday's assignment. So, I'm going to put it into this form. Remember, first step, factor out this lead coefficient. Factor it out of these two terms. So 2 times x squared plus 8x. I'm going to move that over there because remember I'm going to complete this square. I'm going to put this here. Now I'm going to add half of this squared. Half of 8 is 4 squared 16. So I'm going to do plus 16. Now I would have to do minus 16 to make up for that, except that I didn't really add 16, I added 2 times 16. Remember, I factored a 2 out. This 2 multiplies everything inside. So what I'm going to have to do is undo that. I added 32 here, so I'm going to undo it by subtract 32. Okay, so what I come up with is 2 times, now I've completed this square for a reason, because now I write this as a perfect square binomial. Don't need that there. 2 times x plus 4 squared minus 1. See, now we can graph this using our transformation. Remember, we go left 4 and down 1 and then stretch it 2. But in this case, the vertex is at h comma k. So what is h here? Don't say 4. H is, remember that says minus, this says plus. This would really, we could change this and we could say minus negative 4, right? H is negative 4. So the vertex is at point negative 4, negative 1. That's where the vertex of this parabola is at. Okay? So, that was number, rewriting a quadratic. Okay, so you got a bunch of practice of them, and here is, as promised, here is the new problem type. Okay, where we are going to solve this by completing the square. So, we're going to do the same operations here, completing the square, same operation. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to rewrite it. There's no lead coefficient, so there's no number to factor out of this ahead of time. So I have x squared minus 2x. Take half of this, that's negative 1, and square it and add it here. And then I have minus 13, and since I added 1 here, I have to subtract 1. See, I did plus 1, I undo it with minus 1. Now this piece here is a perfect square with a minus in the middle. X minus 1 squared minus 14. Now the last thing I need to do, see that says equals 0? The last thing I need to do is add that 14 to both sides of the equal sign. And I get x minus 1 squared equals 14. Now, what does x equal? Well, take the square root of both sides, right? Take the square root of both sides. By the way, that's the first part of our answer. X minus 1 equals 14. Once we take the square root of both sides, we come up with x minus 1 equals the square root of 14 plus or minus the square root of 14. We've got to pay attention to that. It's the positive or the negative number here is going to equal 14 when you square it. And then we're going to add 1 to both sides. So x equals positive square root of 14 plus 1, and x equals negative square root of 14 plus 1. Now this says to round our answer to the nearest hundredth. Okay, if there is more than one solution, to put it in there. So I'm going to take the time. This, by the way, is the last problem type. I'm going to take the time to put this into my calculator. So, square root 14 equals plus 1 equals SROD 4.741 comma. Now I'm going to take the negative square root 14 plus 1 SROD. Negative 2.741. Negative 2.741. So here are the two numbers that are rounded to the nearest hundredth. So let me put them in here. So I had x minus 1 squared. So we click on this one. It doesn't let me enter it. Okay, I'm going to do one more anyway. So let's see, preview assignment. This one will let me check it. Solving by completing the square. Number 12. Okay, so this one will let me check the answer. So let me show you another example, please. This is all brand new to you, and I really want you to understand it. So we're going to move the 11 over. X squared. I can even move this over right now if I want to. I can subtract 11x from both sides if I want to, but I'm going to wait. Plus 8x. I'm going to move the plus 11 over here. I'm going to leave a little space because I'm adding something, I'm going to unadd it. Okay? Half of this, 4, squared, 16. Now I have to undo that. So I added 16, now I'm going to subtract 16. Now this piece right here becomes x, half of that, x plus 4 squared, plus 11 minus 16, minus 5, equals 0. Now I just have to add that 5 to both sides. So I get x plus 4 squared equals 5. That's what's going to go here. Then I'm going to solve it for x. So I have x plus 4 squared equals 5. So I take the square root of both sides of this equation. Remember, it's always going to be the positive or the negative of that. Positive or the negative. So I get x plus 4 equals the positive or the negative square root of 5. So x equals the positive square root of 5 plus 4, or it equals the negative square root of 5 plus 4. So I throw those into my calculator. Okay. Square root 5 plus 4. SROD, 6.236. So that's going to be 6.24. 6.24. This one here, the negative square root of 5. Negative square root of 5. Plus, whoops, I hit times. Plus 4 equals SROD. 1.76. I'm going to check that and see if I did something wrong. Negative square root of 5 equals plus 4 equals SROD 1.76. Okay. 1.76. Okay, so now I'm going to put that number in here. So I have 6.24, 6.24, comma, 1.76. Partially correct. Solution, your answer is correct. Your answer is incorrect. The solution. Okay, so I thought I made a mistake here. So let's see what it was. Oh, here's what it is. I added 4. Okay, so haste makes waste, by the way. I'm trying to make this video short for you guys and see what happens. Haste makes waste, so don't try and do your homework fast. Square root of 5 equals minus 4 equals SROD negative 1.76. Negative 1.76. And then let's try the other one. Negative square root of 5 plus, or pardon me, minus 4 equals SROD negative 6.23. So I got the negatives of both of those. So let me just toss them in as negative signs. Negative signs. Okay, so again, pay attention to my mistakes. That's the most common mistake with these is sign problems. Okay, now there's one more type of problem. It's the same problem as this, except it says leave the exact answer. Okay, so let me do this. Continue. This is number 12. Number 12 says decimal answers. I'm not sure why it's not letting me go to number 13. Ah, there it is, number 13. So, same process. It's not really not that hard if you've got this complete the square thing down. X squared plus 16x. Move that plus 51 over here. You could even open up and put this in parentheses. Leave a little space because whatever you add here, you have to unadd here. Half of this, 8 squared. 8 times 8. I'm adding it here, so I'm subtracting it here. I'm undoing what I did. This keeps it balanced. I didn't change anything. Whatever I added here, I subtracted here. Now I've got this, the perfect square, x plus 8 squared. Perfect square binomial. And then plus 51/64 is at negative 13. Equals 0. Last step, add 13 to both sides. So you're going to get x plus 8 squared equals 13. Okay, that's what's going in here. 8 and 13. And that was a plus 8, 13. Now let's solve it. So x plus 8, took the square root of this, take the square root of this, positive or negative square root of 13. So x equals positive square root of 13 minus 8. Not going to make that mistake again. And x equals the negative square root of 13 minus 8. Okay? This one is an exact answer. So it doesn't say round or put decimals in, so I'm going to put exactly what you see there. I'm going to put the square root of 13, come out of the root, minus 8, comma. Then I'm going to put the square root of 13 up. Guess what I forgot to do? In front, negative square root of 13 minus 8. It's about time I got one right the first try. Okay? So, the last one, you just had to do one more step. You had to round this. So you pay attention. If it doesn't say round, then it's an exact answer. Okay? Sorry it took so long. Don't forget, if you need help, you know where I'm at. Thank you for your time, attention, and attendance.